Great. Yeah, thank you so much, Glenn. You can go to the next slide. So I'll just say, yeah, it's just me today. Leah's name was on the slide, but she did help out a lot with this presentation, but had a scheduling conflict, so could not make it. So I'll just cover our slides today. For those I don't know, my name is Derek Krevat. I work in MassDOT's Office of Transportation Planning. We have a new team called Municipal Planning and Support, and in addition to coordinating federal discretionary grant activity, as Glenn mentioned, we also provide some technical assistance to communities and work with municipal staff across the state on a variety of different infrastructure needs. So we've got contact info here at the end, and just feel free to reach out on anything and everything related to locally prioritized infrastructure. But yeah, here today to talk a little bit about the BUILD program, which is a US DOT discretionary grant program that provides grants for surface transportation infrastructure. It was previously known as RAISE or TIGER. So if folks are familiar with those acronyms, this is the same program. It's just the current administration's preferred branding or acronym of it. In terms of the amount available last year for FY25, the Department of Transportation awarded 30 projects totaling $488 million. And you can see there as well that it was extremely competitive, right? They got over 815 applications, only awarded 30. Next slide. I wanted to note that, that feels very doom and gloomy. That they do have 3 times more available this year. 1.5 billion is noted in the NOFO. So we feel a little more optimistic about that, having seen a little bit of a higher amount available. Massachusetts communities have had success in getting this before. Last year there were not any, but again, it was a lower amount awarded nationally. So this is something that MassDOT's received in the past, a number of municipalities have received in the past. And, just some information here on the slide on award sizes, right? It's kind of, for capital projects, the award size, maximum award size is $25 million. The minimum kind of varies based on rural versus urban. If it's in a rural community, it's $1 million is a minimum award, and for urban, it's $5 million. That's just for capital projects. There's no minimum award for planning projects, so you could get, $100,000, $50,000. I don't think I've seen anything lower than a few $100,000 through this program, but typically for planning projects, right? Think planning studies, feasibility assessments, engineering and design, those kinds of needs that this funds. So it's very broad eligibility, right? It's like anything related to surface transportation, roads, bridges, pavement, bike lanes, maybe bike lanes, not so much with the current administration, which is something I wanted to mention, but sidewalk improvements, those kinds of roadway needs. With respect to match funding, typically the federal share is 80%. There are exceptions for areas that are considered areas of persistent poverty or historically disadvantaged communities, which I'll mention on the next slide as well. And just for the deadline is February 24th at 5 p.m. Next slide. So as I mentioned, this is just a map that they've put online for where there are areas of persistent poverty and rural communities. The map did not have a legend, so I kind of attempted to create one myself using PowerPoint, but you can see there, right, how the urban areas are in yellow and disadvantaged in orange. And so if you're in a non-yellow area or in an orange area, then you would be considered eligible for a reduced local or state match requirement. Next slide. And eligible applicants include, states, so us at a state level, local governments, regional planning agencies or metropolitan planning organizations, regional transit authorities or other transit agencies also eligible, as well as federally recognized tribes or a consortium of tribes. Next slide. And as I kind of alluded to earlier, the types of projects eligible under this kind of span between planning and capital or construction. So again, just to get into a little more detail, planning grants cover things like, both design and engineering and planning studies, whether it's like a master plan, comprehensive plan, a corridor study, and integrated land use plans, et cetera. We've seen most of the ones that we see in Massachusetts are for just straight engineering and design, as well as some early stage planning work, kind of a mix of both. And then capital projects, again, kind of very broad, just highway, bridge, public transportation, infrastructure, culverts, surface transportation, even airports are covered. So this is a very broadly eligible program. Next slide. Some key changes that USDOT has made since the last round include some notes on what's considered projects of merit. So in the past, they've used this designation to, sort of make some sort of benefits to communities that are considered what they call projects of merit. That no longer exists. So even if you are a community that has had a project of merit in the past, they kind of have canceled that whole thing altogether. They're no longer considering that, and they're asking everybody to just reapply and essentially start from scratch in that sense. The merit criteria are, listed on the side here. Things, safety. They still have an environmental sustainability category, although the focus of that has shifted from things like greenhouse gas emissions reductions to a focus more on resiliency and sort of the strength, strength of the transportation infrastructure itself, and things of that nature. Big focus on economic competitiveness and state of good repair and innovation as well. They've also noted a number of other administration priorities, including things like, travel experience for families and beautifying transportation infrastructure, and even a reference to improving roadway capacity, right? So in the past, right, I think we at MassDOT, right, very much believe in roadway design that kind of responds to the needs and all users of the roadway. Oftentimes, that involves removing lanes, right? That is directly opposite to what USDOT is now prioritizing, right? They do not want to see that. So if folks have questions about, the sort of flavor of what they're looking for, and I guess, we've kind of referred to as writing to the test a little bit, our team is happy to work with you all. And just, this is not something MassDOT is shifting our priorities on. It's just, if we were to look at build funding through this program, right, we'd want to work with you all to kind of just make sure we're framing things in a way that we could, capitalize on it and receive funding and use it as we need to. Next slide. Some other key information, if you're looking at construction projects, benefit cost analyses are required. Those are somewhat intensive. You require some technical support. Engineering and design or planning applications do not require this, so a little bit of an easier lift there. A key focus of USDOT is on project readiness. So they're looking at, if it's construction, having projects advertised for construction bids within 18 months of project selection. So that's, using federal funds. That is a very tight time frame. You basically need to have a project that's in final design and ready for, nearly shovel ready. For planning projects, they want to see that. I think it says, within 6 months of selection. So if you are getting a planning or design grant, it would have to clear what's called the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA, before 6 months. So that can be a challenge too, but something that is just important to keep in mind. And they also have what they call a risk review, applicant capacity review, and financial completeness review as part of their process. Next slide. So this is just, so I just had some links on where you can apply. In the past, they've used a site called grants.gov. For this round, they're not using that. They're using a platform called Valid Eval, which I find a little bit more user-friendly, actually. It's, more of like filling out a form as opposed to kind of uploading in a, different environment, a lot of different documents and things like that. So that's linked there. The bailed grants at dot.gov and support@valideval.com email addresses are also listed. And they also post some information and hold webinars on the federal level as well that you can keep an eye out for. Next slide. Yeah, and this is just our contact information. So again, if any community is looking into this, we'd love to know. We'd love to work with you. Our team was established in large part to help with this in coordination with Quentin's team and FFIO. So if you are interested in applying and you'd like a letter of support from our secretary or are looking into match funding, we've been working closely with FFIO on bundling those match requests. So it's not something you all would have to do individually. It's something we can submit on your behalf. And our email addresses are listed there, and you can feel free to reach out anytime with questions or concerns or assistance in any way. So I will leave it there, and I'll turn it back to you, Quentin.